if you're shooting guns and throwing stink, what do you call it? Not stink bombs, but serious.
Crackers.
More than firecrackers.
M50s.
Sometimes. That's really bad stuff, and it disrupts the whole reading, and it shouldn't be like that. So they've started to really get strong that, everybody, come on, let's listen to the Megillah. That's what it's about. Who said it's about becoming crazy? So Purim consciousness is not in any way crazy. Purim consciousness is the absolute waking up of humanity to the highest level of godliness. Here's a little diagram that I drew based on one of the essays that I have in my Purim pack. It's called Visions of the Future, which is a text from the Leshem Shvov Achlama and from the Ari. It's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want to get into that, but there's a thing here that's very important to me. It's one of the ways of depicting of how time works, how time will be lifted up. We're going to go to higher and higher levels of time. Or really, it's all together, like I said on Shabbat and on Sunday, time will be lifted up, space will be lifted up, and nefesh, soul will be lifted up, consciousness will be lifted up, all of mankind will be lifted up. But just in terms of time, the type of consciousness we have during the 6,000 years of history, right, is in this smallest little circle down here at the bottom. What's above that, the context within which the 6,000 years of history takes place, is called the 7th millennium, which is usually called Olam Haba. But it doesn't stop there with the end of the 7th millennium. It goes into the 8th millennium and the 9th millennium. And so you see here that there are correspondences to the holidays in terms of the higher up we go into eternity. The way that the Leshem, Rabbi Elyoshev, the great master Mikubal of the early 1900s, wow, beautiful, the teacher of Kabbalah, Rabbi Kook. Rabbi Kook brought him to Israel the last 2 years of his life. In a sense, uncannily enough, just like the Ari lived in Israel only for 1 year and 8 months at the end of his life, so the Leshem also 2 years. He was the father-in-law of Rabbi Aryeh Levine.
Yeah.
Right, Rabbi Aryeh Levine married his daughter, and the present Rabbi Elyoshev in Yerushalayim is his grandson.
Wow. And
he was just an incredible light. So one of the things he says is, and this is really, I shouldn't do this too much because I don't want to take away from where I'm going to go in the class, but that the end of the 6th millennium, we're just about getting to the end inning, the last inning. Just before the 7th millennium has to be a messianic age. Has to be a messianic age? Yes. According to the belief system of many of the great tzaddikim who ever lived, they really took it seriously. That the end of the 6th millennium, in the next 230 odd years, something has to happen that's going to jump us up above this present dream that we're in. And it's going to be called Messianic Age, Yemot Mashiach. And he says it'll also be called Yom Shekulo Yom Tov, or Yom Shekulo Moed. Come, sit here, Andy. Hi, shalom. A time which will be all holidays. Every Sunday will be Passover. Every Monday will be Rosh Hashanah. Every Tuesday will be Shavuot. And goes on to Sukkot and Simchat Torah. Meaning to say that the level of holiness that enters into the world on one of those holidays is more than the level of holiness on a regular Thursday or Friday, right? Like how much holiness can a regular weekday hold? Well, a holiday can hold much more. So that every day during the Yomot HaMashiach is going to be the level of a holiday. Like a regular day can hold this much, so a holiday can hold as much as New York City. Shabbat, when it comes to then the 7th millennium, we're going to jump out of the 6th millennium, out of the day of Yom Tov, we're going to jump into a day which is all Shabbat. There'll be no more holidays per se, because they'll be subsumed up into something as large as the planet. In terms of, right, it can hold more holiness. So that which was lesser is not going to have a name anymore. Passover is not going to be really celebrated because it's going to be swept up into the higher level of Shabbat. But there are going to be 2 days every every year during the 7th millennium that we're going to still keep. Yom Kippur and Purim. And then in the 8th millennium, it's going to be every day will be Yom Kippur. Hanukkah is not mentioned here. Oh, for sure, it's in there somewhere. But every day in the 8th millennium, every day Yom Kippur, and there will be only one day a year that'll be Purim, until we get to the 9th millennium, and it'll be all Purim. So Purim is very special. So in this book, I'm trying to explain what it is that makes Purim special. There's three main essays and 2 minor essays, and then some prayers for the prayers of the Ta'anit Esther, Sephardi and Ashkenazi, and whatever else I put in here. The 3rd essay is the Ari's teachings about Purim. The Ari's teachings about Purim. Not an easy thing to do. It's a complete... The Ari is difficult. He's complex. But there's a certain idea here that he brings out that I try and explain called the dormita. Dormita is similar to Spanish dormir. Spanish is similar to a dormitory in English. What could dormita mean in Aramaic? And in Hebrew it's tar dema, which is the same letters but switched around. Instead of dor, dur, it's rd. Instead of dar, it's rud. But it's the same letters. One is dormita, dormitory, the other was tar dema. What does it mean? What does it mean that God put Adam into a tar dema? Simple, right? Sleep. And he anesthetized him. He put him to sleep. So there's a concept in the Megillah where Haman says to Ahasuerus in chapter 3 of the Megillah, ויאמר המן למלך אחשוורוש, ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד בין העמים בכל מדינות מלכותך, ודתיהם שונות מכל עם ואת דתי המלך אינם עושים ולמלך אין שווה להניחם. Haman said to the king Ahasuerus, the 2 archetypal enemies. One is the nice guy, the wolf in sheep's clothing, Ahasuerus. He makes like he's really a great guy, and he loves Esther, and he loves everybody. But really, he allows Haman to do something here that really also, therefore, gives away the disguise. Ahasuerus, according to the rabbis, is more dangerous than Haman. Haman is the one who cannot but express his hatred towards the enemy. He's the Arafat type. In his speeches to his people, he was constantly saying it until the Senate started to get some idea that what he said in English was different than what he was saying in Arabic. And now everybody's like on to what the Arabs say in Arabic, because we have a thing called memory. MEMRY is one of the most important websites in our generation because it translates stuff from Arab newspapers. So when you know what the Arab is saying among his own people, you know, that's the Haman type. What they say is exactly what they mean. They can't hide it. It's just overflowing from them, what they want to destroy. Ahasuerus is more like the nice guy king.